As you know, data resides in a huge variety of locations. We can have different types of databases and different types of files for different types of systems. And the thing about Power BI is it allows you to connect to a variety of data sources and load that data into Power BI and then transform that data and clean it and shape it in such a way as it makes it really easy to create reports for others or allow others to create reports themselves. What I'd like to do is look at bringing some data into Power BI, and I want to bring some Excel workbooks, in fact 6 Excel workbooks into Power BI. At the moment, when I look at my fields pane on the right hand side, it says I haven't got any data loaded, and I could click this option to go and get data. But also on the Home tab in the ribbon is a data group, and in the data group there's a Get Data button, and this allows you to bring in data from a variety of common data sources. And these are the common ones, but if you clicked more, there's even more sources that you can choose from. It's very hard to find any sort of data source that Power BI wouldn't be able to connect to. Now I'd like to just simply bring in an Excel workbook, so I could click this button, or I've actually got a button here dedicated to bringing in Excel workbooks. So let's click this button. The first file, and there's 6 of them here that I want to bring in, is the BI age in years. So I click this file and I click open, though you could just double click as well. The navigator is what will appear next. Now the navigator lists any tables, queries or ranges that you can bring in from that file. And the symbols all differ. I'm going to click this option here because this option tells me that there's a list that's been formatted as a table, which makes it perform very well. And it's that table called age data that I want to connect to. I could hit the transform data button, and that would simply fire up Power Query and allow me to start transforming the data. But at this point in our videos, I just really want to load the data, just get the data into Power BI. So I'm going to click load. It makes a connection, it loads the data, and on my fields pane on the right hand side, I can see there's one object that's been brought in called age data. And I can see the date and time, and I can see that the storage mode is import. If I hit the chevron in the front, I can expand it, and I can see there's 4 columns in that particular object. Age is a number, year is a number, and there's content and country. And I can click this chevron and actually close it again. There's some dots here with more options which allow me to delete it if I didn't want to bring it in, but I did want to bring it in. So let's go and grab another 5 Excel workbooks. Excel workbook, life expectancy, open, navigator appears. Do I want to bring in the sheet or do I want to bring in the table? I'm going to bring in the table life expectancy and load. Now I have a second object showing in my fields pane, life expectancy. Excel workbook, third file, open. From the navigator, I'll choose to bring in the formatted table called density. I can also preview the data just by clicking on it, and I'm just going to load it. Third object loaded into my fields pane. Notice the fields pane also doesn't show them in the order that they were imported, it shows them in alphabetical order. So fourth object, total population, open, navigator appears, and I'm going to go for the formatted table called population and load that straight into Power BI. Fifth file, Excel workbook, population stats. From the navigator, I will choose world stats, tick that option, load it. Excel workbook, last file, the 6th file, open. And this time I actually want to grab not the formatted table, but the worksheet called years and load. So I've loaded 6 Excel workbooks. They appear as 6 alphabetically listed objects in my fields pane on the right hand side. I can click the chevrons to expand and collapse one of them or all of them. And so we've brought data in, we've loaded data in. Now the other thing I think worthy of a mention is on the left hand side there are 3 buttons. If I click the first button, that's called report. And really what that allows me to do is see the report canvas, which is this area here, where I can start designing my report. But what if I clicked on data? Well, data allows me to now click on density, life expectancy, population, and actually view the data that's inside of each of these objects that I've just imported. And then the third option is my model view, this one here. What this allows me to do is see all the tables and how they're interrelated. Now I'm just going to collapse my properties pane, and I'm just going to go down to the bottom right corner here, and there's a button called Fit to Page. I'm just circling around it in the bottom right. Click that button and it allows the screen to fit everything on the page. And so now I'm just going to drag things and pop them where I want them. I want age data here. I want years to appear here, and world stats underneath it. So you can just drag them, typically by their column heading. Density I'll put over to here, life expectancy I'll put over here, and population can stay here. And if I fit to screen or fit to page, now it'll increase the size so that I can clearly see what's inside of each of these particular tables. I can stretch them. That's an option, so you can stretch them and see what's in them, but I'm pretty much seeing everything, otherwise I'd have a vertical scroll bar. I can hit the collapse button and collapse and expand to collapse what I can and can't see. If I collapse it, I only see the fields that are used in a relationship, and I'll expand it, and I'll expand that. So this is immediately allowing us to see the relationships that exist between the tables. So one to many, and as I rest on the line, it actually goes yellow, and with the use of grey, it's saying that the two fields that connect the density table to the world stats table are country. When I rest on this relationship, it's also country to country when it comes to world stats. So one country in the world stats table has many life expectancy figures, and they do over the course of time. The life expectancy for that country will change over the course of time. Same here. The density for that country, one country, will have many density values over the course of time as the density of that country changes. And likewise over here, if I rest on this yellow line here, one country will have many population figures over the course of time. And if I rest on this line, one country will have a variety of age data over the course of time. So you can actually see the relationship and what field connects the two tables or queries together just by resting on the line and it going yellow and using shading.